Some of the most important things in thinking about news are the news values we read about really early in the semester. In chapter 1, week 2, we read about impact, prominence, the novelty factor of news events, currency, which really refers to these trending, recurrent topics, conflict, timeliness, proximity, human interest, some of the most powerful stories in terms of tugging at our emotional cord. And bear in mind, a news story that you see on a homepage, on a front page of a newspaper, will meet several of these criteria. So these news values are not mutually exclusive. So let's look at this example. Identify the news values of following stories and think about which are most important. Police Chief Carlo Briseno is named Man of the Year by the local Chamber of Commerce. A store employee who reported a fire that did extensive damage to the store last night was taken into custody after police discovered that the store had been burglarized and found some of the merchandise in the employee's car. And finally, a national study found that the local cancer detection center has the highest rate of inaccurate diagnosis in the nation. The director of the center disputes the findings. So which of these are most important? Which one should you rank first? Well, clearly, if you're looking at this third story, this one has highest impact. So if you're someone like the Detroit Free Press, the Oakland Press, you have here a story with high impact. How many people know someone that's been affected by cancer? Not only that, it has, since it's a local center, that has proximity. Of course, timeliness, but also that if the director disputes the findings, that's also conflict. So this story, just off the top of my head, has 4 important news values. So this one will definitely be the first one to be prioritized on a homepage or on a front page of a newspaper. And then, unfortunately, we still talk about conflict as very important in news. If it bleeds, it leads. So therefore, the fire story that has conflict, the difference of opinion here between store employee and who started it, in the employee's car, they found evidence, whatnot. So this would definitely be a more inflammatory type of conflictual story that would come second. And the happier news, sort of the local color, the human interest story about the police chief would be third in the order of importance. Look at a variety of different news and rank them in the orders of importance, or in this particular case, select 6 stories of 10 options. What 6 stories should be prioritized on a homepage or on the front page of a newspaper? So then you would look at the different characteristics of these stories. What news values does the first story have? Taliban and Afghan peace officials versus a Detroit top metro area for flipping, which is about the housing market. And whatnot. So you would look at all of these stories and decide what news values do each of them meet, and then you would pick the ones with the most impact to be part of your home screen or front page. Remember, impact, if we're going back to our list, impact is the most important news value of them all. How many people are affected by your news story, and the more people are affected by your news story will drive what kind of stories are in the news. So if you get these kinds of questions on the midterm, you have to consider the news values of every single news piece in order to rank them and prioritize them. And in the particular case of this list here, we have a story about Detroit and the housing market as very important for a local audience. That would be one of the top. Quicken Loans, also really important for a Detroit story. So if you're someone like the Detroit Free Press, those 2 would definitely be stories prioritized on the front page. A story about the Detroit River could come later in the story. It's got a lot more human interest sort of value. It probably would be a 6th story. A Florida mother would not make it into a homepage. A gunman killed in North Dakota. Maybe this would be a national level story about shootings, which are more frequent in today's day. So it maybe will make it as a 5th story. But also, if we're looking higher up in the list, a cancer story about Ann Arbor would also definitely be a part of our sample. Taliban, Afghanistan, China type of stories. These are have high currency. These are all names and countries that we've seen in the news. So this is also a story that would be in the news or prioritized as our top 6. So anytime you get questions such as these, look at all of the different news values that a particular story has. So you would list one, Taliban and Afghan, and you would list your news values just to give a sense that you understand all the different reasons why this story would matter. And then based on which matters most, which has highest impact and whatnot, those would then be part of your 6 that would be selected to keep in a final sample.